We're looking here, Adam Yates, the first-year professional. He rides for the Australian Orica Green Edge team. He's alongside one of the more famous people in the world of cycling there, Alejandro Valverde. The breakaway is still clear, but only by 6 seconds now. They're going to find themselves in a quandary here now, Graham, because they're away from the hill and they're still 9.5 kilometres from the line.
Yeah, well, they're actually just about to get caught.
9-kilometre banner there. So.
Yeah, they're just about to get caught now. We're seeing Giant Shimano take up the chase now. Degenkolb is in that group, so we could well see a battle, Michael Matthews and Degenkolb for the stage.
Now, don't forget, we've not seen Romain Sicard. He got away on the climb. As far as we know, he's still the only man left on the road in front of the peloton now. He freewheeled down a little bit quicker than anybody else.
Well, we're actually hearing that Sicard did actually puncture on the descent. We didn't actually catch it, but we never saw him. But he is there's nobody in front. The peloton is all together.
Peloton Group A, as they say, because Sicard apparently punctured. Our cameras never picked him up. The radio tour is telling us that he's back in the peloton. So there's no one left. 8.8 kilometres to go altogether. It's going to be a group sprint.
Yeah, who's going to take up the initiative? That's the thing, because none of the teams will have lots of riders in this group. The chances are that the teams with the most riders are the teams with probably not the sprinters, the Tinkoffs and Katusha's. But it's Orica Green Edge now that have taken it up.
Well, he was on his own, Sicard, when he punctured, and so by the time the peloton went by, we didn't see him. But that's a great shame for him, because he could just do with a result right now at this stage of his pro career. All three riders have been caught out front all together. Valverde will have to think of another move. That's him down there, 151. Joaquim Rodriguez moving up in the Katusha colours, red and white. First man on our left as we look at the peloton here. Well, from this angle, it looks a much smaller peloton than it does from the helicopter, I must say.
Yeah, it definitely split again on the descent there. We didn't see a lot of it because we were concentrating on the front, but that peloton is smaller than it was earlier on the descent.
It's a very fast finish now as we continue on good roads here. 6 kilometres now left to go. Simon Clark grits his teeth here. Well, if he looks over his shoulder that way, he's going to see John Degenkolb, the man with the black and white stripes on. They're just waiting to see if he can deliver a result here. He tried many times in the Tour de France, was right up there, but never got the win. In fact, the last win he's had was the classic Gent-Wevelgem back in March, which I find very, very surprising for a sprinter of this quality.
The tricky thing here now for a finish like this is because the sprinters teams haven't got their full squad with them, if you like, to do the lead out. This is where sometimes things can go a little bit wrong, and you can get somebody breaks away, the organisation's not quite as good, and you don't have control of the peloton.
A lot of work being done here by Simon Clark. He's always had a love affair with this race. 2 years ago he was the king of the mountains and won one of the most difficult stages. Stage 19 it was from memory, and so Simon is now riding hard here at the front to see if he can hold this peloton from forcing any moves away in the last 5 kilometres, and hope that Michael Matthews can finish it off. He's over by the crash barriers in the central reservation of the road. Matthews at the moment has got to get out of that mess and start thinking of moving forward.
31 Kelderman, he's in this peloton as well. He was 4th, I think, yesterday, so he's another one who's in good form.
He's a good sprinter. I haven't seen the sprinter on the team, Hofland, and I would doubt he's here actually. As we now cross over one of Spain's most famous rivers, the Guadalquivir. And we'll cross over it again too as we circumnavigate the town, heading back up towards the finishing line. 4.2 kilometres to go, and it looks as though Team BMC are getting interested on the far left of our picture. Simon Clark will have none of it. He intends to keep this pace high as much as he can, which will stop any moves coming out of this pack to spoil the party, because they will feel Michael Matthews can deliver. At the start this morning, he said he felt it would be a strong day for him and the team, and they should get the result. Now that's confidence for you, Graham.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be a really interesting finish, this one.
John Degenkolb is still in there. The black and white stripes is much better placed at the moment than Matthews as we start to tick down very quickly. 3.7 kilometres to go.
This is the big roundabout. We've got one more big left turn at a roundabout with just under 2 kilometres to go. But otherwise, this is a pretty straightforward run in. Good roads, and just got a little bit of a slight right and left chicane with about 500 metres to go.
Some 50 riders lining up for the last 3 kilometres of racing under the international rules. Fallers after 3 kilometres to go in this group will all get the same time, so Michael Matthews in that respect would be safe, but of course bonuses are taken into account whether you fall or not, so he really could do with the win here and take the small win bonus to increase his lead. Simon Clark is riding like 2 men at the moment. He's determined to crack this field.
Well, he's definitely keeping a high pace, and as I said, this is often the danger when you've got a group like this. Not a full team, you can get caught out with a late attack, but they're certainly keeping the pace high enough to deter any attacks.
His only win this year was the Sun Tour in his home country of Australia. And that was back in February, but he is a workhorse for the team as he's showing us right now. 2.5 kilometres left to ride. There might always be a little discrepancy with what we say and what is actually left to ride. There's the return across the river as they start to run up towards the finishing line here. Now, I've made it just 50 riders left in that peloton, of which there are about only 5 will be able to cope with the sprint finish. Degenkolb is waiting. He's perfectly positioned. He's the black and white jersey, second in line behind the hard-working Orica Green Edge riders here. Matthews beginning to move into our sights at the front. He better, because he's inside 2 kilometres to go now. For a moment, our cameraman couldn't find the pelotons. He had to reposition himself on the back of the motorbike, but here we are. Michael Matthews is still in the field, tagged by Adam Hansen, another Australian, but on a different team here. This is the Lotto Belasol man. He's in his 10th consecutive Grand Tour. This man simply never gives up. And look at that for an attack. Well,
this is a great attack, actually. I mean, he had a go yesterday, but from a lot further out. But this is a sort of move I was just talking about. A strong man. The teams haven't got enough riders there often to control the bunch.
Well, I tell you, if anybody can do it, is this man. He was once the time trial champion of his country back in 2008. King of the Mountains in the Santos Tour Down Under this year. And that's not bad for a guy who says he can't climb. But he last year won a stage of the Giro d'Italia. Got just desserts there. Is he going to spoil the fun? Because Matthews has linked up behind John Degenkolb now. Right onto his wheel, inside 1 kilometre to go. Adam Hansen trying to time trial his way through to the finish. He's a strong man, but they're leaving it now to the wrong riders here, because Degenkolb is second, Matthews is third. The catch is made. Michael Matthews has a chance now to increase his overall lead in the Vuelta Espana and get his second win in as many days. This is the lead out for John Degenkolb, but I think they've gone too soon to the front. There's a move on the right of the road. Matthews will need to change direction here as Degenkolb dives across. Matthews tries to follow him. They grit their teeth as they start to see the finishing now. Look at the face of Matthews as they rake the corner. It's a left-hander sweeper. They'll see the finishing line. They're just hesitating long enough, perhaps. As watch out on the left too, because that looks to me as though we've got I Am Cycling's making a move for the line now. As he goes, there's a break on the side of the road here. This is going to be desperate moments. Matthews boxed in, and John Degenkolb is coming forward here, and he's going to hit the line. Matthews is washed away. He might get third, but John Degenkolb gets the win.
Yeah, definitely strong man Degenkolb there. He won fairly convincingly, but good lead out from his teammates. I mean, didn't have many teammates there, but they did everything they needed to.
Now, rolling in behind the sprint, Giant Shimano's Chad Hager was performing his own celebration for Degenkolb's win, and just behind him you can see Adam Yates, who proved a useful tactical card for Orica today, even if his move didn't quite pay off in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I got away with Valverde and one guy from Lambre, and yeah, it's going pretty good. But yeah, obviously we got Bling in the bunch, and he's one of the quickest in the world, really. So I couldn't really work with him, and then as soon as he found out I couldn't work with him, we kind of just sat open and didn't work properly. So Yeah, I mean, it's always good to get out front and have a go, but yeah, we'll try again tomorrow.
So third today for Michael Matthews, behind Vicente Reines and John Degenkolb, the winner, and ahead of Italy's Damiano Caruso. Rather got in the way of the sprint. Then Dan Martin, Alexander Kolobnev, Lloyd Mondori and Valerio Conti. Contador, Valverde, Froome and Quintana were all in the main field on the same time as the winner, although Valverde and Quintana had more teammates up there with them than Froome did. Adam Yates lost 1 minute and 1 second after his effort off the front, and Peter Kenyick, rather surprisingly, lost nearly 11 minutes after pulling on the climb. So the stage win and the prize for best Zorro impersonation by a German sprinter go to John Degenkolb. He won 5 stages here 2 years ago, but he hadn't won for a while before today. Matt Rendell was waiting for him when he stepped off the podium.
You won that in part by getting over that final climb, and you were right towards the front. It was hard work, but it was worth doing.
Definitely. I mean, it was a little bit of a gamble game as well, and I knew that if I didn't succeed today, I'd definitely lose some energy for tomorrow, and I just tried to do everything today and went all in, and yeah, in the end it worked out, and now it's just happiness and also a lot of confidence for tomorrow.
Now, he mightn't have won the stage, but Michael Matthews did extend his lead over Nairo Quintana to 8 seconds, thanks to the time bonus for third place. Alejandro Valverde is still third, then it's Rigoberto Urán, Damiano Caruso, Esteban Chavez, George Bennett and Aymar Zubeldia has sneaked up into the top 8 at the expense of Julian Arredondo. Contador and Froome slip another 4 seconds behind Matthews too, but the relative time gaps between the big names remain the same. Adam Yates is 62nd now, and Peter Kenyick slipped 76 places today to 98th, and he's got plenty of Sky company down there too. So he couldn't quite duplicate yesterday's stage win, Michael Matthews, but it wasn't a bad day, a slight padding of his race lead, and although he'll continue to wear the red jersey, he's now also in possession of the green as points leader.
Michael Matthews, you retained the race lead, but there was a gesture of frustration on the finish line there.
Yeah, definitely. Some non-sprinters trying to get in amongst the sprint and the final, and I guess when these guys get between us sprinters, there's going to be a bit of hectic stuff. So yeah, I wasn't willing to crash in the final today. Our main goal was to keep the red jersey, and if we got the stage win, we got the stage win. But yeah, I wasn't going to risk crashing with these guys that wanted to be there in the final. So it would have been really nice to contest Degenkolb in the finish, but yeah, the way it went, it was just a bit too hectic and too many risks were being taken.
Michael, do you say goodbye to that red jersey come what may tomorrow, or can you hang on?
Tomorrow's a stage that I think suits me again, so we'll give it another go. We probably won't ride the front, but we'll try and be there in the final. We don't want to cook up our guys too much. It's only stage 5 tomorrow. There's a lot of stages to go, so yeah, it was a really hot day today and fairly long in the end. So I think the boys will be a little bit tired, so I might give them a rest tomorrow, and we'll put the cards onto another team.